Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be building this fence in the backyard, keep the dogs in. My wife and I just bought this house, so I started looking into putting in an actual fence, and you're probably talking $10,000 plus to put in a decent fence. So we're going to do this welded wire fence with a nice big gate that we can fit the mower through. The reason that I'm going to be making these videos on all the upgrades we're doing to the house is just so one day, who knows, we can look back on it, maybe the kids can watch it and see how everything got built. So my friends thought that it would be fun for me to make these videos, so here we are. So we're going to get going from the beginning on these posts. So this is the yard we're working with. We're gonna try and go all the way around, squared up with this corner of the house. So started over here. I got a string line coming off this corner of the house. Got string over here in line with this edge of the house. And we dug a hole a little over 2 feet. We're gonna fill the bottom a couple inches of gravel so that water can flow through without rotting out the posts. So here we can see my hole, about 28, 29 inches deep. We'll fill it up to the 2 foot mark with gravel. Start scooping it in. Got our gravel in the hole. See, right about 24 inches deep there. Alright, so we got our pole in the ground, and I just screwed these 2 stakes to it to help get it level. And definitely not the most scientific thing or sturdy thing ever, but we are looking pretty good. And as you can see, I'm right up against my string line there. Right up against my string line there. So we're gonna go ahead and fill the hole with concrete. Alright, so we got our concrete tamped in our hole. Just gonna check again, make sure it's level. Looking good. Looking good. Now we're just gonna let it dry and move on to the next one. Alright, same process here. String line ran with the house. Also made a mark in line with the shed. Dug our hole about 28 inches deep, and we'll just repeat the process. Fill with gravel, level the post, fill with cement, move on to the next. Alright y'all, so we got this post set. I am filling my concrete all the way up to ground level, just because I really don't want to weed eat around the poles and cut them all up. Over time they start to get a little damaged by the weed eater. So as you can see, we're right on our string line, nice and level. Now I'll move down to the other side of the yard and start that one. Alright, last thing I'm doing here tonight is drilling some holes in my concrete to attach the post support to. And I got 3 holes in and snapped the bit off in the hole. So we're gonna throw some pliers at it and see if we can get it out. Alright, I was actually able to drill a hole right next to it. You can see it's a little offset there, but worked out pretty good. So throw some bolts on it and get our gate post in here. Alright, I don't have this post fully attached yet, but we are bolted into the concrete. Should be pretty sturdy once we tighten it up. I'm gonna leave it off there for tonight because as you can see, it is very dark. This ring floodlight is pretty sweet. Lights up the whole yard. See you in the morning. All right, welcome back. It's the next morning and hopefully we can finish up all of our posts here today and we get our fencing sometime Tuesday. So that might have to wait till next weekend when it's 30 degrees and raining. Fun. So we got our one post that's tied into the concrete here. It's all tightened up, but it's in there. Not as sturdy as I would like. I kind of want to hang the gate right here, so if I hang the gate on that post, not sure how sturdy it's going to be, but I guess we will wait and see. Alright guys, so it's time to put in the T-posts, and I just ran my string line from one post to the other, and I'm going to do my welded wire on the outside of the wood posts just because I think they look better on the inside, and I'm going to run my T-posts down the outside of the fence. So we'll just drive our T-posts in level and in line with the string line along the outside. And I already got done over here, if you can see them, and basically drove them all in level, then went around with a tape measure and made sure they were all the same depth. And I think we're gonna paint them all black eventually, just because the white top isn't the best look. Also, I keep forgetting, but we are gonna do another post right in line with the shed, because eventually I'd like to turn that into a bougie doghouse of some sort. So we're gonna run the fence from corner to corner and then over to the edge of the shed both ways, and eventually there'll be a gate right where my pickup is parked, but for now we're just gonna fence it in on a T-post so it's easy to pull out if we ever need to get something big in the backyard. Also, a little side note here, I have a map of my sprinklers, and there's supposedly one right out here somewhere, but I've yet to find a single sprinkler head, and I hope I haven't found a line, but we're just kind of living on a prayer out here. Alright, so got our last hole dug. Another thing to note is I know the spec is like 12-inch hole or whatever, but I'm just going 8 because digging with that thing sucks. And I hope it's a really long time before I have to use one again. But for just holding up welded wire, you shouldn't need anything that's too crazy. So we're gonna set this last post same as the ones before, build our supports, fill it with concrete, and then we'll get on to the T-posts. Alright, we are all set up, ready to pour our last concrete. Thank the Lord. Alright, so we got our string line here on the outside of the post, since that's where our fence is going to go, and inside the T-post. So, came right down here, put the face just barely right up against that. Didn't get it the most square, but this is what it is. And I'm setting them to be 4'8" high. The fence is 5 foot. I would really like them to be all the way to the top of the fence, but the 6 foot T-post is just a little bit shy once you get it in past the spade or whatever you want to call it. So 4'8" all the way down should help us line it all up good. The one thing I'm worried about with not knowing where the sprinklers are at, we got our box here. So we will take a look at where our lines are coming from Looks like we're running right out there to whatever sprinkler that I can't find. And then I'm just gonna guess that we run all the way up to the front from there. And I think this is our wiring coming out for the sprinklers. So if they did it the easiest way possible, which is what most people do, they probably just ran a straight line there. So we should be in the clear. I'm just not sure where we cross over this part of the lawn, but luckily we don't need any sticks there, so we'll keep going, and I guess we'll find out in the spring if we cut any lines. Alright, so we got this whole row in pretty dang straight. These ones are spaced on 9.5 feet because that's just what worked. The ones over there are spaced on 10 feet because that's what worked. But you can see they actually line up with each other fairly well. So looks pretty good. We just got the back side to do, and then we're waiting on fencing. I also have a pretty big 6 foot or so gate to build for right there. We went super wide because the existing concrete, and then to get the mower in and out of. So I will start on this back portion and probably catch up when we're done. Alright, so all the posts are set. Now I just gotta go around and clean up all my dirt piles. Should be a pretty good size fenced in area for the dogs. So I came out here and painted or stained all my posts dark brown, painted the T-post black, and you can really start to see how it all blends into the background. So the fence gets here on Tuesday and we will finish it all up then. It's supposed to get cold and rainy. Nice. So we'll see. Hopefully we get it done before the weather gets too bad. Alright y'all, so we are going to get the actual fence put up on the posts today. Finally got a nice day. And I rolled it all out first, and just trying to start this I realized that I'm going to need an extra hand, so we're gonna have the wife come out and help me hold some stuff. Alright y'all, so I got the fence put up. I built this little fence stretcher, just 2 boards screwed together and a ratchet strap. Worked pretty well. My top is a little loose, but that's because the ground's not level, so we'll go along and twist some of the wires, kind of like we were showing on the gate, and fix that up later. But looking pretty good. I'm gonna let the tension off and hopefully it stays this way. Alright, so the top of this was all bowed out and loose because anytime you go over a hump in the ground, it, I don't know, pushes the top together, however you want to say it. But I went along by every post and just made a little twist, and as you can see, it straightened it right out. So over the years, as the fence gets stretched out, and you'll probably have to go along and do that every so often, but for now it's tight, and there are some little dips with some gaps, and I don't know, we'll see how the dogs do with it. I might have to put some ground stakes in or something, but this is working for now. So we're gonna go ahead and get the fence laid out on this back stretch and put the stretcher on that and go from there. Alright, so we got this one up and all stretched out. We're just gonna start zip tying. I guess I didn't show you guys that, but I'm using some metal zip ties because the plastic ones will get brittle and break in the sun. I think it was like $12 for 100 of these metal zip ties. So we will zip tie this all up on the poles and get back to you at the end. All right, so we got this side all put up. It was much tighter, so I only did the bends at one post. One other thing to note, the bends work both ways, so there's a little hump here, high spot that was bowing up the fence, and so I just bent it that way and brought up the height of the fence a little bit. It's really hard to see, which is the point, so it kind of disappears in the background. One last thing that I will add is, I'm not sure if a 4x4 is quite strong enough. It's hard to tell, but that post, the lumber is actually bending from the tension of the fence, so it'll work for me, but not ideal. All right, so we got a finished fence all the way around here, and other than the post, you really can't see where it's at. Really disappears in the background, so looks good, and that'll be all for this one.